I'm Shauna Coons for the Early Childhood Education Diploma Program at Regina campus. We actually operate at 3 campuses, Regina, Saskatoon, and Prince Albert, full-time programs. Admission requirements for the Early Childhood Education Diploma Program are grade 12, English A and B 30 included, and there is an English language requirement of IELTS 6.5. At Sask Polytech, for the Early Childhood Education Program, there are 3 classes that they can take without meeting admission standards. They're considered to be called Level 1, Health, Safety and Nutrition, Child Guidance, and Play class. Now, what's interesting about this is that high school students can approach their guidance counselor or a teacher to talk about what's called dual credit. And dual credit allows students in high school to take those 3 courses without meeting the admission standards through the continuing education program of Sask Polytech. And what ends up happening is they get dual or 2 credits. They get credits for those classes on their high school transcript, and they get credit for those classes through Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Should a student take those 3 classes during their high school time and still want to come into the program full time, they have the benefit of then having 3 classes already under their belt before they even start, and then would have spares in the regular schedule. The Early Childhood Education Program is a 2-year diploma program. There are 10 courses and 2 4-week practicums in each year. Full-time classes run at each campus from the end of August to the end of April each year. Or if a student chooses and they're working in another field after high school or are interested and curious if they want to continue in this field, they can take part-time courses through continuing education individually, and that's an opportunity that's offered to them. So they can come full-time or part-time. What's exciting about the Early Childhood Education Program at any time, but specifically now, is your job prospects are fabulous. I would say on average, we have about 95% employment after our program is done. As well, students often get part-time jobs through their practicum experiences. When they're out, people say, can we hire you from our 3 to 6 shift after school? And many students gain that opportunity. Our main employer after graduation are child care centers. And after some experience, students may become directors of child care centers or even consultants for early childhood centers with the Ministry of Education Early Years program. As well, our students have found employment with Kids First and also with SIEC, the Early Childhood Intervention Program in Saskatchewan. So there are many opportunities for students upon graduation, all of them working in some direct or indirect way with children and families. When a student joins the Early Childhood Education Program, they're often coming in because they've had experience with children or they're feeling that this is an area they would really like to explore and build a career in. What students also need to remember is children come as a package with families and extended families, and in child care centers, which are our main employers, you're often working with a really broad group of people. Teamwork is really important. So someone coming into this field really needs to enjoy working with diverse people of all ages, children and adults, colleagues, parents, professionals from the field. So what's really important is not just the enjoyment of working with children, but with diverse people of all ages. And as well, coming in with good communication skills, both oral and written, is quite critical, and also someone who's interested in learning, ongoing learning, and building new skills as part of their career. It would be a great benefit for them. The Early Childhood Education program at Saskatchewan Polytechnic is quite unique in that our instructors have all had extensive experience in the field, in a variety of early childhood programs, whether they were on the floor as frontline educators, teachers in pre-kindergartens or early years, whether they ran preschools independently or in cooperation with community programs. And they bring that wealth of experience to the work that they are doing in the program. It just brings such a wealth of experience and shared experiences for the students. As well, what often happens is we are in connection with the child care centers and preschools and early learning sites in our community, so that students have the practical experience when they go out on practicum to learn about how it actually works. So they're in their theory classes, they're practicing with each other, they're doing hands-on learning, and then they get the opportunity to go out on the practicum and actually experience the work for themselves, to learn and work with the other experienced people who have graduated from the programs previously and be mentored and guided and coached in their learning experience. It's an opportunity for a broad range of learning experiences, both in the classroom and in the practicums. Encompasses a broad range of experiences. We use a blended approach. We have classroom instruction. We also have online curriculum for independent learning. There's lots of group work. We do that quite deliberately because when graduates are out in the field, they are usually working in group settings. There's often more than one educator in the room with a group of young children, so they need to practice those communication and conflict and problem-solving skills prior to getting out into the workforce. There's a lot of classroom instruction, certainly, but there's also a lot of hands-on and lab work where students get to set up experiences and learn the how-to of the work. We have many times guest speakers coming in, and we also invite children in with pre-set up environments set up by the students. So the students have a pre-practicum experience of setting up environment for children and learning what works and what doesn't work before they actually head out to practicum and even after they graduate and are actually working in the field. To really consider why they're coming into the program. A lot of times we have students who come in who have had childcare experience or babysitting, and they feel like they really love children and they really want to work with children. But we also caution them to ensure that they know that they absolutely have to enjoy working with children, but there are also parents to work with. And many times parents come in with diverse needs. We have to build skill in working with parents, building partnerships with parents, and developing those relationships where you are the professional who is caring and working with their child and can meet with them in ways that are supportive and informative. As well, you're working with a diverse group of colleagues, and so teamwork skills are really, really critical. Sometimes too, students come in thinking, how hard can this program be? Like, what am I going to learn? How to make Play-Doh? We could finger paint. What are we going to do? There is a broad theory base involved in our program that involves university style texts that we use, textbooks that are used in our course, so that you have to understand that while component of creative, play, joyous environment, we want to encourage that and appreciate that, but also there is a practical part and a foundational part where students have to study hard, learn a lot of theory, and know why they are implementing those particular play experiences. As well, you need to know all of these foundational theoretical practices and best practices, because you're also going to be working with professionals from the field, occupational therapists, physical therapists, speech and language therapists, sometimes even doctors. And you want to be representing yourself, the program, the children and families in your care in a professional and responsible manner. So there's a lot to this job that you need to consider before you jump in with both feet, thinking it's going to be an easy ride. It's a fun ride, but it's not necessarily an easy one. There are designated seats set aside to accommodate Indigenous students and students who need learning accommodations. This is important so that there is representation in our program for students who may be marginalized or underrepresented, and supported in ways that create a more diverse student population. If you are considering this field and after you viewed this video, you're thinking, yes, early childhood is for me, you're walking in at a time where there is a great opportunity for anyone who is interested. With the federal funding that is coming down and the $10 a day childcare that is coming soon, there are going to be more spaces developed for children in childcare sites. And also the wages are being currently subsidized and increased. So the field is just expanding at an incredible rate. There is going to be more jobs, better wages, more opportunities for students to get a field that is just growing and expanding and exciting. It's a really exciting time for early childhood education. So if you think this is the right place for you, I think your timing is perfect.